It's Dodge Charger time, but this time with gas instead of electrons. I recently drove the all-electric version of the Dodge Charger, and to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of all the gimmicks. Fake exhaust noise from speakers just seemed wrong. But today we have the new Sixpack, which runs on dinosaur juice, and I want to know if it's better than not only the EV version, but other muscle cars like the Ford Mustang. Today we're going to cover all the features inside and out before taking it on a mountain drive to see if this legendary nameplate can be saved by good old gasoline. Cosmetically, not much has changed with the EV version to the gas version here, and that's frankly a good thing because most people seem to like the way this looks. It has a lot of presence to it, and of course it's just a big vehicle, and muscle cars are supposed to be relatively big. The biggest change cosmetically compared to the EV is no wing or front wing. And the EV, there's no engine up front that they have to deal with, so they have this sort of wing that comes through the grille and through the hood. Of course, with a big inline six-cylinder, with the gas version, there's no such room for that activity. So that's the biggest change cosmetically. This car gets the handling package, so it also gets the bigger Brembo brakes, which are massive on this thing. And you're also seeing it here in a color called After Dark, which is really looks great in the sunlight when the sun hits it just right and sparkles, and then at night it does look quite dark. Although they have like 10 different color options, and I do think that there are some more exciting color options that you can get in this vehicle. This is seen here in the 4-door, but they also offer it in the 2-door, which is another distinct advantage compared to some other muscle cars. What do you guys think about the looks of the Charger Sixpack? Leave a comment down below. Here's what all the fuss is about. This is an internal combustion gas engine, but it's not a V8 like in most muscle cars. This is a inline 6-cylinder, 3-liter turbocharged engine, and it makes pretty good power, 420 horsepower and 468 pound-feet of torque. So it is a torque monster thanks to the turbocharging. What's interesting is not only the fact that this is not a V8, but also the drivetrain here. This is all-wheel drive as standard. So if you actually want to put all the power to the rear, it actually has the ability to do that. This car has line locks, so you could do smoky burnouts. It's very adaptable in that regard. It's all-wheel drive, so you could drive it all year round, but also if you want to have some fun, you can put it in rear-wheel drive only mode. It's really the only vehicle in its class that is doing anything like this. Some other performance numbers for you: 12.9 quarter-mile time, 4.6 0 to 60, pretty respectable numbers. And then the fuel economy: 17 city, 26 highway, although I haven't been able to get even remotely close to those numbers. Now, while the exterior is a hit, the interior is a bit of a mixed bag, frankly. But let's start first with the positives. This is a really cool design. I like how they have this sort of tiered structure with this backlit inlay that is textured, and of course this is set up as red now, but you can literally change it to any color you want. That's all customized within the infotainment here, and it does have like a wow factor to it. I think it's really cool. It's also like a relatively low dash line, although maybe that's because you sit high up in this vehicle, and we'll talk more about that. But it's got a wow factor and it's something different, so I really like that. Now, the problems that I have with this are the same problems that I had with the EV version. It's just the usability, and it starts all first with, even when you just get into the vehicle, there is a actuator to open the door. There's no physical door handle. So I don't know if you caught it in the intro. I walk up to the car and try and like open the door. There's like a pause before the actuator opens, and then the door opens. Look, I'm curious, do you like door actuators? Is there anyone in this world that would prefer a door actuator to an actual physical handle? Leave a comment down below. Now, the rest of this, the infotainment and your HVAC controls. You do have sort of these persistent physical-ish buttons for your HVAC, but they're almost kind of haptic. They're not individual buttons. And just like the screen on the left here, I can control the ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. When I press them, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I don't know what it is about this specific screen or these specific buttons, but it's a bit inconsistent with how they work. So at least, there is dedicated buttons here for HVAC, but they're not actual real buttons, so they're not the most usable. Speaking of not the most usable, this whole infotainment, there's just like a crazy menu structure. You have to go so many layers deep to modify things, and it's not super intuitive. I do think other manufacturers do this better. Now, you do get things like a wireless phone charger, which is nice, and Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wireless, which is also nice. But, you know, then you go to the steering wheel, and it's kind of this almost octagon or hexagon thing, almost a square. I don't really know why. And then these sort of gummy buttons. I've always had a problem with Dodge's buttons. They're like, at least on the steering wheel, they just kind of feel gummy. But you do get a digital display, and what I will say is that like the level of customizability in here is really cool. While it's not super intuitive how to change it in this vehicle, you can customize basically everything. And what I do really like is that you can customize your driving mode. So you can adjust like, you know, your throttle response, your traction control. You can set up your own specific driving mode in here. The last thing we should talk about are the seats. And they're pretty good. They're not like the best seats in the industry, but they're pretty supportive. They are very wide, so if you have a wide frame, you'll probably really like these. For me, I'm a skinny guy. They're like so wide that they don't support me as well, but I do like the material that they use, and they look pretty cool on the back as well. You know, the back seats, it's kind of weird. I think about like in a full-size sedan, they're not that big. But in terms of a muscle car, it's the only place with the 4 doors, and you can actually put people back there. I say all this because I'm 6'1". I have barely enough leg room to sit back there, but my head hits the ceiling. So it's not the most comfortable for taller passengers, but once again, you can actually put most people back there, and that's not something you can say with really any other muscle car. Now, last thing before we go for a drive, this does have more usability than most muscle cars, certainly more than a Mustang, because of that lift back design. It's not just like a traditional trunk like a regular sedan would be. So there's a good amount of space back there. Once again, further proving that with all-wheel drive and 4 doors and more space, that this is more of a daily driver. All right, let's take this thing for a drive and see what it's like out on the road. Sport mode, rear-wheel drive. Here we go with the launch. Yeah! Oh, this transmission. All right, we're off. Rear-wheel drive mode in a Charger with a gas engine. All right, what is there to learn about this car? Well, I've come to a quite twisty road here in a pretty large car. What I want to talk about first, of course, is the engine, because that's the biggest difference between this and the EVs and, you know, the Mustangs. But I want to break it into 2 different categories. I want to talk first about what it does objectively in terms of power, and then I want to talk about how it feels, you know, like in terms of subjective qualities. So in terms of power, pretty decent. I put my foot down here. Okay, it gets going, it builds power, but you know, it's not crazy fast. I think a lot of that has to do with the weight. This thing is nearly 5,000 pounds. That's a lot. It's a lot of weight. More than, I mean, that's like 2,000 pounds more than old school sports cars that were right around 3,000 pounds. And yeah, you're getting a lot of torque, and you certainly feel that. That's the advantage of the turbocharged engine. So I see the advantage there, but it doesn't knock your socks off. And we're up here at altitude. There's a big delay with that transmission, so I don't know what that's about. When it doesn't come on power very well between shifts. There's like quite a bit of a lag. But this thing is not slow by any means. This thing is not slow, and it's going to be way faster than probably what most people are used to in terms of cars. What I'll say is that subjectively, though, I give it an okay sound. You know, it was never going to be as good as the V8 that it replaced, and everyone who is a car nerd, of course, is going to lament the fact that the V8 at least for now, is gone. I will say though, like if we're going to compare this to something like an M3, because that also has an inline 6 turbocharged engine, I think it actually sounds better than that. What they've done with this exhaust, I do think it sounds better than an M3. Now that's not high praise because, well, frankly, the new M3s, the S58s, don't sound that great. I think this one sounds a little better though. It's got like a throatiness to it that the M3 just does not have. The M3 to me is like all rasp, and this has a little bit more of a throatiness. It is very smooth though. That is one thing I will say. So in terms of like characters, when you start it up, you get a good exhaust note, and when you shift, let me get it downshift here and have this thing shift. There's a nice burble or crack on the shifts, which I do like that as well. But the smoothness is kind of uncanny. And you know what? It's sort of weird in a muscle car because most muscle cars are kind of like, you know, rumbly because they're V8s. So that characteristically is a bit strange. It's very good at like doing a task, being that it has power, but it doesn't feel like a Dodge Charger that I'm used to. So there's that. We're getting used to it. I'm gonna use these paddles, which are hilariously small. Like they are, I don't even know how to describe these. If they were any smaller, they wouldn't exist. They're just like the tiniest paddles because they probably don't really want you using them. There's a pretty big delay between using the paddles and the transmission. I will say this car is a little bit let down by this transmission. It's just not that quick to respond. It's quite traditional in terms of transmissions. Oh, shift not allowed. Shift not allowed still. Yeah, this is not a sports car transmission. Oh boy. Yeah, all right. Just leave it in automatic because trying to shift this thing with paddles really just doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. The jerkiness, there's a bit of jerkiness at low speed. Come on. Yeah, if you hit the red line, it just does not want to shift. All right, let's go to neutral. Let's go back to drive, and hopefully it will just do drive again. Okay, so now we're back in drive, which I think is how this car should be. Let's talk about some other aspects of this vehicle I find a bit strange. There is this giant rear view mirror contraption, I'll call it. I'm sure it has something to do with the autonomy. It takes up a lot of visibility here, which I don't love. You kind of like, especially going through turns, you have to like look down and look under this rear view mirror. The seating position is extremely high for at least a sports car, which you could look at it two ways. Number one, it's easy to get in and out of if you're older and you don't want to stoop down into a vehicle. That's nice. But if you like that feeling of being low down in a sports car, that's not this. Now, this is a muscle car, so you know maybe it's not meant to be a sports car. The brakes are strange. I say strange just because they're inconsistent. They are not linear at all. They're extremely grabby. So if you're trying to drive this like a sports car, it's hard to modulate the brakes. And even at low speeds, like I've been driving this for a week and I still find myself like over braking immediately and making my passenger's head like slam forward. For as big as this thing is, it is relatively nimble. I'll say that. This is a blind corner, so I guess we'll wait to go around this gentleman, or young lady, I should say. Yeah, it's just, the brakes, I just feel inconsistent, and that's not a quality I love in a sports car. Brakes. Okay, let's sum it up. This is a fun-ish daily driver. I think the problem, or maybe not the problem, but compared to old cars, I think an old Charger, even the last generation, you could absolutely daily drive, but they were kind of more for like fun weekend toys because they were more special. This to me feels like they were like, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're going to make a pretty decent daily driver. Like, this suspension is pretty compliant and decent actually overall, and this thing is pretty nimble for the size, but it's got all-wheel drive. It's got, you know, a turbocharged engine which has good torque that makes good power down low. It's got 4 doors. It's got a lift back. This seems more just like a fun daily driver. So at the end of the day, is this better than the EV version? Yes, I think it has definitely more character than the EV version. I don't like speakers that simulate exhaust noise, even in a daily driver. It's just like, what are we doing? So I do think that this is more interesting and compelling as a gas car than an EV. But I will say that in terms of gas cars, I think there are better options than this one, at least from a specialness perspective. You know, from a daily driver, if you need 4 doors and you need all-wheel drive, you want to drive it all year round, okay, yeah, like, and you want a muscle car, well, this is the only one. But if you want something that's a little more special, I think something like a Mustang would be more fun on a weekend, nice weather day basis. That's how I'm going to leave it. Let me know what you guys think about the Charger in the comments below. I'm sure people are going to have plenty of thoughts on it. If you made it this far in the video, guys, thank you very much. Consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.